Good morning, people. Happy Monday. I have up the GCF homework page. Once again, there was not a Delta assignment for this. Hopefully you've had a chance to take a look at it. If not, no peeking until you turn it in. All right, and I think that we have, this is page 48. And once again, you take out your GCF first and write it down. Don't try and go from here to here. It's almost impossible, so don't be that guy. And when you do that, you wind up taking a 2 out, factors of 90 that add up to, that should be a 45, Mr. Douglas. That should be a 45, see? Sorry, you don't get to catch me on that one. And that's what happens when you do things in your head. And factors of 45 that add up to 14, 5, and 9. All right, and once again, signs the same. Both are plus. 12 times 5 is 60. 12 plus 5 is 17. Sliding on down. All right, and picking up one book so I can get to the other page without making a mess. And down at the bottom, you had to take out a 12x to the 4th and then factor the rest of it. Once again, the numbers get a little bit bigger. Use your calculator to find those factors of 99 that add up to 20, that sort of thing. And I'm going to show you a way to do that in your calculator today, or when you get your calculator back, or if you have one, which will make your life easier. And for the overachievers that did the second page, I got my answers up for you. And that's a good thing. All right. Once again, any questions on these? If you got something different, please just pick a problem number and a page and send it to me. And we will go from there and I'll get back to you. All right. All right. So that is GCF first and then factoring a trinomial. Today we're going to do something different. This time we are going to go to the next page. And we're factoring when the A is not equal to 1. Remember, the A is the initial one out here. And when that's not 1. Once again, first look for the GCF, because they are going to give you one in this mess. Let's take the GCF out first, and then do the rest of the work. And there's going to be two ways of doing this. We can either unbox it or undouble distribute it. Okay, and I'm going to show you how to do both of those repeatedly. Once again, find one you like and stick with it. I also have a worksheet that is going to be available for you on Google Classroom to print out. And that will be, I'm going to go over one on that page as well, so you can do that. And hopefully between the three things, you will become an expert at this stuff. Okay, so here we go. So our first trinomial, 2x squared plus x minus 6, no GCF, so nope. All right, identify your A, B, and C. So your A is equal to 2. Remember, that's that magical mystery invisible 1. So B is equal to 1, and it's positive 1. You want that sign there. And C is equal to negative 6. And then it says AC. You need to multiply A times C. So you're going to have 2 times negative 6. And that's going to give me negative 12. Technically, we could have done this for when we first started factoring trinomials, but the A was always 1, so it would have just been 1 times negative 6 is negative 6. So that's why we do that as a separate case. So now we're going to look for the factors of negative 12 that add to positive 1. Okay, so my factors of negative 12 are, let's see, we want the bigger one to be positive. So I'm going to do negative 1 and 12, negative 2 and 6, negative 3 and 4, and that's going to add up to 1. So that's the one that I want. Okay. And so I got two different ways of doing it, and I think I'll unbox it first. Okay. To unbox it, when you have a box, this is always the first term, this is always the last term, and then you're going to split this with these numbers over here. Okay, so here we go. 2x squared goes up here, minus 6 goes down there. Then we said that negative 3 times 4 gives me the negative 12. Negative 3 plus 4 gives me the positive 1. Doesn't matter which one goes where, as long as the signs are there and the x is attached. So 4x, negative 3x. Okay, so now you're just going to GCF each row and column. All right, GCF here is just going to be an x. GCF here is just going to be a number, and this tells me what the sign is going to be on the number. So this is going to be a plus. GCF of 4 and 6 is 2. Going across, I have a 2 and a 4, so I get a 2. They both have an x, so an x. This determines my sign. So it's going to be negative. Greatest common factor of 3 and 6 is minus 3. The common mistake is here to say, oh, 3 times 2 is 6, so you put a 2 there. Not good. Okay? So my final answer here is going to be 2x minus 3, and then x plus 2. So that's the unboxing method. Okay? The undoubly distributing method, which is really hard to say, we're going to take the 2x squared, and we're going to split this apart. Let me just rewrite the original equation. Plus x minus 6. So I'm going to bring down the 2x squared, and I'm going to split this apart. And it doesn't matter which way I do it. Okay, so I can do the minus 3x and the plus 4x, and then the minus 6. Okay, everybody agrees that negative 3 plus 4 gives me that 1x back. So I haven't really done anything to the equation. I just rewrote it in a different format. So now I do this. Put an imaginary barrier down the middle. I'm going to do a GCF on the front and a GCF on the back. So the GCF here is just going to be x. So I get an x, and then I get a 2x minus 3. And on the back, the GCF of 4x and 6 is going to be positive 2. And then you divide this by 2 and this by 2, you wind up with 2x minus 3. If you've done this right, you should have the same thing inside both parentheses. If you don't, you got to go back and try again. All right, but now you have a 2x minus 3 and a 2x minus 3. That's now your GCF. 2x minus 3. So 2x minus 3. And then you gather up your leftovers here with that sign and x plus 2. And hey, look at that. Either way works. Okay. Now, I work with all kinds of crazy students, and every now and then somebody, they struggle with this. All right. There are other ways of doing this. I had a young man that was really good at doing this, which is basically breaking down the 2 with a 2 and a 1, and then all the different ways to break up the factors of 6, 1 and 6, 2 and 3, positives and negatives. And he would look at this and he would be able to come up with the right combination by going like this. Okay, if I do this, that gives me a minus 3x. If I do this, I get a plus 4x. That gives me a positive 1x. That's my winner. Okay, he got good at that. So there are other ways of doing this. I'm showing you the 2 ways that mechanically work the best. These are the algorithms that work. But if you're not getting good answers, this is just called a guess and check. You can do it that way as well. All right, don't recommend it, but it's there for you to work with. Okay, so we're sliding over to the next page. And hold on one second. Okay, I was choking on my coffee there for a second. Haven't had that happen before. Okay, so this is the worksheet. There's a worksheet that's available for you on Google Classroom. I would strongly suggest you print this out because this is step-by-step on how to do this. And it shows you going through one problem, and then the second page is a blank one, so you can go through it, and when you get down to this spot here, you can either do the undistribute, or you can just draw yourself a box there and do the box method. But I strongly suggest you print this out. It shows you the calculator procedures for getting those factor things that I was talking about. Once again, if you do the a times c divided by x, and then the a times c divided by x plus x, that gives you your factor. So right here it says, can't really see it that well on this, but if you printed it out, and we're looking at factors of 18 that add up to 11, and we have -9 and -2 gives me a -11, and gosh, that's what we're looking for right there. That's why we did that there. Okay, so once again, that's a freebie for you, and you can use this to do the rest of the problems if you need to do that. And there's also that tells you how to check it and the whole shoot match. I'm going to do a couple more examples for you, and then you guys get to do some practice. Okay, so how about I do the next one, and I'll do this one with the undistribute method, and I'll do that one with the box method, and then maybe I'll do one more doing it both ways. All right, so first thing we do is identify our A, B, and C. Actually, the first thing we look for is a G, C, F. There's no. All right, so then I have a 2, a -1, and a -21. And I don't have a lot of room there, so I'm going to write it underneath. So 2 times -21 gives me a -42. And then this is a -1. So I need the factors of -42 that add to -1. All right, and my factors of 42, and the bigger one's going to have a negative, is going to be 1 and -42, 2 and -21, 3 and -14. That's the one that everybody forgets. 4 doesn't go into 42, 5 doesn't go into 42, 6 and -7, and that's going to be my winner. Okay, because if I add those together, it equals -1, which means I'm going to take my 2x squared minus x minus 21, split this apart. Once again, it doesn't matter which way I do it, but I'm going to do 2x squared plus 6x minus 7x minus 21. Left myself a little space for my dotted line. GCF on the front half is 2x. That leaves me in x plus 3. And on the back, it's going to be a -7 minus 7. And that should leave me that same thing, x plus 3. Yay me. GCF here is x plus 3. Leftovers in here are 2x minus 7. Don't forget your last parenthesis. All right, so once again, the A times C, you got to remember to do that. If you don't remember to do that, you're looking for factors of 21 with a difference of 1, and that's not going to work. All right, and listing out your factors. Once again, if you have the calculator, you can use this process to find those factors out for you. If not, you got to do a little bit of dividing with your phone calculator, and you get through it. A little bit more complicated than the one we did 2 classes ago, but once again, doable. All right, and I'm going to do another one with the box method. So here we go. A is 5, B is -13, C is 6, and then 5 times 6 equals 30. And our B is still -13, so I need the factors of 30 that add to -13, and signs are the same, and they're both minus. Okay, so my factors of 30 are -1 and -30, -2 and -15, -3 and -10, and then no 4, -5 and -6. Okay, now one of the things I like to play with a lot here is that the factors of 30, these two right here. Now if we change that to a -6, it would change our numbers over here and would change the answer to 2 and 15. Because everybody's thinking 15 minus 2 gives me 13 and you're in, but that's not what's going on here. These are both negative. So this one will give me a negative 31, negative 17, negative 13, and negative 11. So we're going to go with 3 and 10. Okay, so once again, first term goes in the upper left-hand box, 5x squared. Last term goes in the lower right-hand box, plus 6. Always put those signs down. And then you're splitting your negative 13x to negative 3x and negative 10x. All right. GCF all the way around the box. 5x minus 3. This one just has a GCF of x. That's the one that seems to confuse folks. And this one has a minus 2. So I wind up with 5x minus 3 and x minus 2. And please write your final answer like this. Don't leave it on the outside of the box, okay? That's what's a little bit nicer about over here. When you do this method, you generally gather it together. Lots of people do this and then stop. And really, you need to state your answer. This just looks like work. Okay, and I think I promised you one more set. So I'm going to flip over to page 51. And I'm going to do the top one and the bottom one. All right, now once again, I'll do one straight line and one in the box method. I'll do the bottom one in the box, I guess. All right, so A is 4, B is negative 19, C is 12. A times C, 4 times 12 is 48. And negative 19, so I need the factors of 14. Signs are the same. Both are minus. All right, that add up to 19. And I'll give you the list just for fun. Negative 1 and negative 48. Negative 2 and negative 24. Negative 3 and negative 16. Negative 4 and negative 12. No 5, negative 6 and negative 8. And that's my winner chicken dinner. And I'll do this one in the box method, so I can do that one straight line. And that's going to give me, first of all, 4x squared minus 3x minus 16x plus 12. GCF going down is 4x minus 3. Going across is going to be x minus 4. So 4x minus 3, x minus 4. Don't forget your parentheses. Okay. All right. So now we go down the bottom one. Notice I even gave you a little careful there. So why would I put a careful there? What do you notice about these? You know, you could say, well, A is 6 and B is 15, negative 15, and C is negative 36, and 6 times 36 is 216, and factors and blah, blah, blah. But you would be wrong. Because the first thing that we're supposed to do, if you go back to the previous page, is look for a GCF. And lo and behold, there is a GCF on this problem. And if you tried to do that other work without taking the GCF out, you would wind up in a world of hurt. Okay, so your GCF here is going to be 3. So first thing you do is write down your 3, and then you divide it out, and you get 2x squared minus 5x minus 12. All right, and then you ignore this one. Don't cross it out completely, but just kind of go like this. Because I've seen lots of people go back down here and then put the 6x squared in and that sort of stuff. We're working with this now. So our A is equal to 2, our B is equal to negative 5, and our C is equal to negative 12. And then A times C equals 2 times negative 12, which is negative 24. So what the factors of negative 24 that add to negative 5. Everybody see where I'm getting that from? Okay, I'm using this, that 3, I'm going to have to remember that and put it in my back pocket and pull it out later. But I need that 3 when I go to write my answer. But now I'm just working with this trinomial with a leading coefficient of 2, following those procedures, okay, and going through the process. And if you're looking for factors of negative 24, signs are different. Bigger one's negative. So you have 1 and negative 24, 2 and negative 12, 3 and negative 8, ding, 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 and then 4 and negative 6. That's where we're going. So I do my 2x squared plus 3x minus 8x minus 12. Dotted line. GCF here is just x. I get a 2x plus 3. GCF in the back is going to be negative 4. Okay. I've had people in the past like, oh, it's always this lead coefficient, so they divide through by negative 8 and wind up with a fraction. You're not going to have fractions in these things. You're going to be dealing with all integer values. So if you wind up like a 1/2 x, you've made some sort of mistake. All right, so I'm taking out a negative 4, and lo and behold, that gives me 2x plus 3, as it should. So I pull out my 2x plus 3, and I bring together my x minus 4, and I turn it in, and Mr. Douglas takes off a point. Why would he do such a thing? I did all that nice work. Man, he's mean. Oh, I forgot to bring down the GCF and pull it out of my back pocket. Gotta be part of the answer. Okay, so I've done 5 of these, and I'm gonna leave you guys to do the homework. Once again, I strongly suggest that you print out one of these so you have a worksheet to work with, or an example that's kind of all typed out for you and where things come from to help you out with it. And once again, take a picture of it or do the work on a separate sheet of paper and type up your final answers, whatever you need to do, and then turn it in on Google Classroom. Once again, I appreciate all of you been working so hard on this, and I'm glad we were able to move forward and ask questions as you got them, and hang in there. We're going to get through this.